What's up guys, Tempo Cattle here, and today I'm going to be talking about Blaze's talents. Let's start with his talent build that I've chosen. I like Adrenaline Stimpak at 1, Oil Dispersal at 4, Grill and Kill at 7, Combustion at 10, Fuel Leak at 13, Heat Treatment at 16, and Flash Fire at level 20. At level 1 I've chosen Adrenaline Stimpak mainly for the move speed that it gives you when you activate it. This allows you to reposition if you've engaged with your E. For example, if you don't connect with a hero, if it gets interrupted, or if you just need to reposition to get with your team again, or to land a better combustion, this allows you to do so. It has 25% move speed for 5 seconds, which is a really large amount. You're basically almost mounted, and that allows you to just be a little more mobile than you are without it. The other Stimpaks get some value as well. Endurance Stimpak is good if you really need to not get bursted. Neural Stimpak is really good for the cooldown reduction if you just want a little more consistency on your oil spills or more flame streams to get Pyromania up. And New Habits is really solid if you need the Unstoppable in order to ensure that your E gets cast without it being interrupted by anything. But overall, I think Adrenaline Stimpak is the most consistent for the hero's weaknesses. At level 4, I've chosen to go Oil Dispersal for a few reasons. Adhesive Petroleum is the other talent that's usually picked at this tier, and the reason I don't like it is you only really get use out of it once they're running out of it. So you throw your W down, you ignite it, and once they leave it, the slow basically persists on them. The reason I don't think that's necessary is because the area increase on Oil Dispersal basically covers that. It makes it harder to run out of, it slows them more, and that essentially has the same effect in the end, without having to ignite it. And the reason I don't think igniting it is useful is Blaze isn't really meant to be doing that much damage. The bigger value you get out of igniting oil spills is the secondary effect where it heals you, and having to use Adhesive Petroleum forces you sometimes to ignite your oil before you can reach it, and then you miss out on the precious healing that's going to keep you alive. This also synergizes really well once you get to level 7, where my choice is Grill and Kill. So basically, you're playing around Blaze's oil spills as a regen tool to make you really tanky. And the quest making the duration last 2 seconds longer basically just gives you a huge amount of potential regen, and it allows you to stand in it for a long time, fight, and it does some extra damage too. Crossfire is a decent option, but I don't really prefer his Q build, and Incinerator Gauntlets is not my talent of choice, basically because it forces you into situations where you can't control when your oil is ignited without stopping auto attack DPS completely, which is really inefficient. And you just want to be able to control when you can ignite your oil. Grill and Kill, the damage increase is also pretty good, but overall, the biggest thing you want from Blaze's oil spills is the slow and the regen for yourself, not the damage. That's basically a secondary effect. At level 10, both ults are definitely good, but I think Combustion plays around the hero's potential a little more. Just a huge AoE slow that you can control how long it slows, and it adds a little bit of DPS too. This just gives you a really big engage tool off of Jet Propulsion or off of any setup CC, and that makes the hero play really smoothly, especially because the slow covers when your oil spill slows are down. Bunker can get a lot of value against certain abilities like Chromie's Temporal Loop, just getting away from like clones, Abathur clones if there's 2 gray mains. Just using Bunker to reposition can really be a useful tool for your allies, but overall Combustion usually ends up having the same amount of peel, except then it also makes the teamfight easier to play, whereas Bunker is a little more... It's a very interesting ult, but it's much more inconsistent. Also, it relies on your allies using it properly, which you can't always rely on. So Combustion is just going to give you that secure engage, that secure peel, and doesn't force your allies to change their playstyle. At level 13, all the talents are very solid, but the reason I choose Fuel Leak is basically because it makes him tankier as well. Just having that extra slow, that extra oil spill that you land on them, and then being able to ignite this for 4 seconds of regen once your other oil spills are down is very useful. There's some games where nano machine coding gets a lot of value, just because if you can use your oil spills to lower attack speed, it's really good if they have high auto attack DPS heroes. And Suppressive Fire is also very solid if they have a lot of mages that you can tag with your Q. The reason I don't prefer this one anymore is because his Q it's very inconsistent. The streams are very narrow, and you rarely land more than one on a single hero, so you don't always get enough uptime on this, but it is still a very strong talent. Fueling just feels a little more consistent overall and makes the hero a little tankier. Same thing goes for level 16. All these talents have their place. The reason I choose Heat Treatment is just you heal for an insane amount. The damage dealt by Pyromania heals you on anything it damages. So if you're in a minion wave, if you're hitting 7 minions and 2 heroes, you're healing for an absolutely ridiculous amount, and it makes you so insanely tanky. Whereas the other talents, Juggernaut Plating can get value if you're playing really against only Burst, but it's pretty easy for them to just stop damaging you or wait out the shield. And Thermal Protection plays around his E, which I think is his weakest ability, and it's not very easy to get a lot of value off it, just because you can't usually get too many multi-stuns without having won the fight anyways. So Heat Treatment kind of, it just gives him even more sustain, makes sure that he can heal up during the fight once Pyromania is up. And at level 20, it's between Flashfire and Burn Notice. Flashfire just makes Combustion into a ridiculous ult. Not having the move speed penalty and adding a move speed penalty instantly to all enemy heroes makes it just pretty much, you can land it on whoever you want. You're basically a walking, slowing sands, and that's just, it gives you an extremely strong engage. Just the fact that you can slow them without having to actually minimize your move speed. Burn Notice gets some value, especially with the attack speed at 1 if you want a little more damage over time and if you want a little more slows after your other slows wear out, but I feel like at this point you have so much soft CC already that you really don't need any more. Well, I hope this helps. I hope this gives you an idea of how to play Blaze and my thoughts on him, and good luck playing him in Hero League.